All right, Unlimited Trends, it's time for another question. This question is coming from Priya Chabra, and her question is, I want to crack a really important exam in my country, which also happens to be Asia's toughest exam. I want to crack this exam effortlessly. I don't want to work day and night and compromise everything to pass this exam. I feel really exhausted thinking over 10 lakh students preparing for this exam. I am no one special for the universe, and I am lazy to work harder, and I tend to overthink whenever I take a book in hand. I'm trying hard to stay positive and crack the exam in a year, but I really fear failure and the fact that I won't get the job. I want to study for this exam with no feeling of being tired and wanting to give up. Please tell me, how should I use the law of attraction to crack this exam? Wow. Priya, are you taking the civil service exam? Sounds like it. Either the foreign service or the civil service exam. All right. Even as I was reading this, I was picking up on all your negative beliefs that are holding you back. Can you see them? Don't worry, I'm going to show each and every one of them to you so that you can deal with them and put them aside, and they will not interfere with your preparation. But first, let me introduce myself. For those of you who are returning to my channel, thank you so much for supporting my work. And for those who are new here, hi, I'm Zara Mahoon. I write the blog zmahoon.com, and I'm the author of 15 books on the law of attraction. I have been teaching law of attraction for 10 years now, and my work is based off of the teachings of Abraham. I have my own connection with Abraham. I channel Abraham, and on this YouTube channel, it is my intention to answer questions from my subscriber base. And so if you have a question that you would like to get the answer to, send me an email through my website zmahoon.com. Other ways to work with me are to purchase the Unlimited workbook from Amazon. The link is in the description. And if you purchase the 40-day Law of Attraction workbook, you can work with me, and I will show you how to make the Law of Attraction actually work. Lastly, if you would like to find out how one-on-one coaching with me works, you can sign up for a 30-minute free consultation. The link to sign up is also in the description below. All right, let's get into the response for Priya. Okay, so Priya, I'm going to take your message apart line by line. You need to understand the difference between positive thought and negative thought, and think only positive thoughts, because when you think negative thoughts, you create resistance on your path, and that resistance on your path is going to get in the way and is not going to help you to get to your objective. So let's do this together. I want to crack this exam effortlessly. This is a positive thought. I don't want to work day and night and compromise everything to pass this exam. There are two negative thoughts in there. The first one is, I don't want to work day and night, which means that you have a belief that you will have to work day and night. So you have two choices. Either you work day and night because that is what you believe is required, or you change that belief. Can you change that belief? That it's a requirement that you have to work day and night, and only those people pass who work day and night. Can you change that belief? Because that's the question. If you cannot change that belief, sweetheart, then unfortunately you've got to work day and night. How do you change the belief? By telling yourself that it's not necessary. It's not necessary. The people with the highest vibration and the biggest desire win. And so your desire needs to be big, and your vibration needs to be high on the emotional scale, and then you can win. But if you keep thinking, oh, okay, I need to be aligned, and then in the next breath you think, oh, but people work day and night in order to pass this exam, you've got two things going in the opposite direction, and this will get you stuck. You've got to let the negative thought go. The next negative thought that you have is that you're going to have to compromise your life, practically the things that you like doing, in order to write and pass this exam. And that also is a negative thought. You're saying here, and compromise everything to pass this exam. You don't have to compromise anything unless you think that you do. Unless your evidence, your belief system tells you that only those people succeed who compromise everything in their life. Well, then stop telling yourself that. Instead, give yourself evidence of people who achieve success without compromise. I will tell you that when I was doing my matriculation exam, was it my matriculation? Yes, it was. I stood third in the board in that exam. And I, like you, I decided that I was not going to let this exam consume me. And what I did, sweetheart, was I made a decision. I said, I have the capability to remember everything. I am an intelligent person. I can remember everything. I don't have to work like other people work. And so I told myself, I'm going to read once to understand, and I'm going to read a second time in order to remember, and this is going to be enough. And that is exactly what I did, and it changed my life. Before I made this decision, I used to study. I used to come home from school, take a nap, have something to eat, and study till it was time to go to bed. Maybe I got 1 hour of break in between to watch television, but I used to study all the time. And then I got sick of it, and I made a decision. I said, no, this is not required. And then I made this rule for myself: study once to understand, study a second time to remember, and that's all you need. I told myself, you don't need more than this, and you are going to ace your exams. And the first time that there was an exam, I finished my studies and I went and watched TV. And my mother came and she said, what are you doing here? You should be studying. You have an exam tomorrow. I said, no, I'm done studying. I don't need to study anymore. My mother was very surprised, but she did not argue with me. She left me alone, and I aced that exam, which gave me the confidence to say, yes, my method works. But you see, here's the difference. You cannot do what I did unless you believe what I believed. Can you believe? Can you adopt my belief that I only need to read material twice, once to understand, once to remember? And if you can adopt this belief, then off you go. You don't need anything else. I can tell you, I've done it. It is possible. And I can also tell you that there are those people out there who do it that way. All right. So then you are saying, I feel really exhausted thinking over 10 lakh, or is that 100,000 students or 1 million students? I'm not sure. 10 lakhs, I think, is a million. 10 lakh students prepare for this exam. Well, now, is that a negative thought or a positive thought? It's a negative thought, because you're telling yourself there's so many hundreds of thousands of people who are studying for this exam, and therefore there's a lot of competition. Whereas in law of attraction, there's no competition, because each one of us is creating our own reality. And then you say, I am no one special for the universe. Sweetheart, you are special. Each one of us is special, because you are made of the same energy as the universe. And if you say, I am not special, what does that do to your self-worth? Your self-worth is about saying to yourself that you are special, the universe will help you, that you are loved and looked after. And then you're saying, I am lazy to work harder, which means I don't want to work harder. That's pushing against. Abraham talks about when you push against something, you cannot win, because the thing that you push against will come back at you. So basically, when you say the words, I am lazy to work harder, what you are saying is, hard work is required, but I'm not willing to do so. Well, guess what then? You will have to do so, because that's how law of attraction works. You cannot say not to anything. And when you say, I don't want to do the work, then it just all comes to a stop right there. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes. If this exam is important to you, you have to tell the universe, I am willing to do whatever it takes. Because that's how you will overcome your negative beliefs. If you keep saying, oh, but I want the result, but I don't want to do the work that I think needs to be done. You see, you're the one who is saying that this work needs to be done. It's not the universe, it's no one else. You are the one telling yourself that work is required. Well, if that is your belief, then you only have two choices, like I said before. Change the belief or go with the belief. Those are the only two choices. Which one is easier for you to do? Can you change your belief and tell yourself, I don't have to work hard? And feel like that is true? Really believe it? Because if you can, then you don't have to work hard and you will still win. All right. Then the next thing you're saying is, I tend to overthink. Is that negative or positive? If you tend to overthink, that's not a positive thing either. So stop saying these things to yourself, because you're just digging a hole and making it bigger every time you think this way. Stay focused on your goal. People who win stay focused on their goal, and they tell themselves that goal is so important, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And then they don't let anything stand in the way. So my question to you is, how important is it really for you to pass this exam? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? And whatever it takes is whatever you think it takes. You are the one who has created all these criteria. You are the one who has all these beliefs. Give up the beliefs and they will no longer get in your way. Then you're saying, I want to study for this exam with no feeling of being tired, which means that you're actually saying it's too tiring to study for this exam. Again, that's not a positive thought. And if you think something is tiring, then it's not for you, my dear. I'm sorry, but I just have to tell you the way it is. Because if you want something, it should energize you, not tire you out. You should be energized, putting in the work to study. Law of attraction is not about not taking any action. There's a video on my YouTube channel that talks about it. Law of attraction is not about not taking action. Law of attraction is about taking action from a place that is high on the emotional scale. Yes, you have to study. Be excited about it. Be happy about it, because studying is going to get you closer to your goal. But if you're going to be miserable about it, then you're digging a hole and you might as well not do it. All right. And then you say, I want to study for this exam with no feeling of being tired and wanting to give up. Seriously, sweetheart, if you want to give up, don't even start. Because that means that you're not excited about this work. You're not excited about this exam, because your goal has to be. So there's another video on my YouTube channel called The Goal Has to Be Bigger Than the Fear. You have all these fears of things in your life not being enjoyable, and you're making the fear bigger than the goal. Anytime anyone wins, they win because their goal is so big that they don't let anything get in their way. Those are the people who get what they want. Because fear is a negative vibration. I am afraid of not having a life. I am afraid of being tired. I am afraid of the competition. I am afraid of working hard. I am afraid that I'm not going to enjoy myself. So what are you doing? You're putting yourself on the vibration of fear. Fear on the emotional scale is down here. It is a very low vibration. Nothing good comes. No action bears fruit when you do it from a place low on the emotional scale. And very little action is effective when you do it from a place high on the emotional scale. When I told myself I'm only going to read twice, once to understand and the second time to remember, I put myself high on the emotional scale because I put myself in a place of confidence. Confidence is self-worth, and it is high, 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 high on the emotional scale. And when you are high on the emotional scale, you don't have to do any work. But I eliminated all negative beliefs. I gave up all my negative beliefs. And that is why I was able to successfully do so. And once I changed that thing in the way I approached my studies, throughout my academic career, I was the top student without studying. In fact, in my MBA class, we had a professor visiting from Harvard, and I was requested to open the case study, do the introduction for this professor who was visiting, and I had not studied the night before. I had not studied this case study, and I was asked by my professor to open the case study, and I opened it. I only studied the first 2 pages of the case study in the 5 minutes that he was introducing the visiting professor, and then I was up on stage having to present, and that Harvard professor said that that was the best opening of a case study that she had ever heard. Why? Because I put myself over here and I said, I can do it. You are not saying that to yourself. You are saying, I have all these roadblocks because of which I can't do it. Change your language, sweetheart. Change your beliefs, and then see what happens. Absolutely, the universe will support you, but you've got to adopt positive beliefs. All right. Love you. Thank you so much for your question. I hope that the answer helps clarify things, not only for you, but for students everywhere and for people with all sorts of questions, because I'll tell you guys, law of attraction works the same way every single time. It applies the same way. It is a standard set of rules, and you can apply these rules to any subject in your life. All right, it's Zara signing off. See you in my next video. Bye for now.